having seen uh, hundreds, taken notes, analyzed hundreds of NDE accounts, I began my interest in these when I was literally just a kid, and I found a book in a used bookstore, a book on NDE accounts, and ever since then I had a fascination with them about the afterlife, and there's so much that is said that is fascinating in these accounts, but then there's something else that comes up, which is what is not said, and that's relevant because of the fact that they aren't all consistent. There's an inconsistency. There are certainly dominant patterns, and there's within great numbers of them there is actually tremendous consistency, but there are outliers, and there's a pattern of outliers, and so I want to know, how is that? What's going on here? What's not being said? And so I'm very careful about. I don't mean to. I don't know how to really approach this properly, because it's obviously a sensitive issue. Personally, I have experienced a miracle that I have seen that was. I've never had an NDE. This was something that happened during prayer in the mountains. And it was a miracle that I have told very few people about, and won't be talking about it today. And I didn't tell anyone about it, literally for years. And the reason why is because it was personally, it was one of the most significant things that had happened in my life. And it was almost like it was sacred, personally sacred. And I didn't even know if I should share it. I didn't know exactly what to make of it. It was a little embarrassing. And I understand, because of that, I think it's important to be, well, let me put it this way. If we look at Hamlet, Shakespeare's Hamlet, and we look at the scene where Shakespeare saw a ghost, and he thought it was the ghost of his father. It was as real, it was 100% real. There was absolutely no question that's what he saw. But he had doubt. And the reason he had doubt is because Shakespeare knew Hamlet evidently had read the Bible, because Hamlet knew about the scripture where it said that the devil Lucifer can double as as light, as an angel of light. Man, that was hard to say. That the devil can double as an angel of light. Okay, he can fool people and come across as an angel of light, and so that they think that they're seeing an angel when actually they're seeing a dark angel in disguise. Essentially, they're being fooled, just as we see in our world. We have deception operations and espionage. Well, that could happen in the other realm also, if there's an eternal battle going on. And so Hamlet was aware of that, and so he was hesitant to take action based on the commands of his alleged father, the ghost of his father, because what if it wasn't his father? What if it was an angel of darkness? That's what he was worried about. And I was watching the Randy Kay show, who does NDE stories, and that was just recently. He had a guy on there that said something similar, and this guy was talking about his NDE, and he said, if they would have ended it, I forgot his name, but he said if they would have, like the doctors, if they would have revived him at a certain point in that NDE and he came back, he would have just assumed that there was no hell, and that there were no consequences to our actions. And that's a paraphrase. That's just my vague remembrance of what he said. And so I think his point is that could have happened to other NDEers, and that's why that could explain the the differing impressions. For example, some say, some people come back and become priests, or they devote their lives to religion, whereas others leave the religion and have this idea that there's no consequences for actions. And that's what this guy had accounted it to, because he had actually seen hell. But he said, if that hadn't happened to me, I might have had that wrong impression also. And so that's worth keeping in mind about what's not being said in NDE accounts. Having said that, my impression from watching and looking at these is that overwhelmingly the people seem largely very credible. I mean, in terms of they really seem to believe what they're saying. But I do wonder occasionally if there's something that's not being said through no fault of their own.